Hi guys, I'm Megan Graham, and today I am going to show you how to highlight hair at home with bleach. So I am a hairstylist with 20 years of experience. I have won Best of Boston for being the best blonde hair colorist in Boston, Massachusetts 2 times. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm just bringing you along while I highlight my own hair because it is the busy holiday season for me and I just don't have any time to get my hair touched up. And I'm just going to explain what I'm doing. So I'm not necessarily telling you that you should try this at home, but if you are going to try this at home, this is how I do it. So I'm hoping that this helps you to have a more successful experience when adding just a little bit of a face frame to your hair. So this DIY highlight for dark hair is something that you're going to need a few products for. You're going to need bleach, developer, some kind of a bowl to put your bleach in, a color brush, some clips, some foils. I'm going to show you my supplies as I go, and I needed to do this anyway, so I figured I might as well just film a video because I am snowed in. We are having a blizzard in Boston today. All right guys, so first step, I am going to mix up my lightener. I am using, let's see if I can turn this around. This is GOLDWELL Silk Lift, and I'm not going to do too many highlights, so I'm just going to start out with 1 scoop of bleach. And I'm actually using a bowl from my kitchen because, as usual, I did not have the supplies I needed at home. I try not to keep any extra stuff in my house, so I actually took the color bowl home that I had. Whoops. So I don't have one, but I'm mixing it up and I'm using a kitchen bowl, which is completely fine. However, if you decide to do that, just make sure that you wash the bowl really, really well because obviously you don't want any residual chemicals in your cooking things or eating things, if you will. So I'm whipping this lightener up, and even as I whip it up, I realized that I may have made it a little bit too soupy. So I like my bleach to be mixed to the consistency of Cool Whip. That way it doesn't run when it's inside the foils as it's processing. So I don't know if you've ever had a highlight where you had those little bleed marks. They look like orange slashes. But the way that I really avoid those in the salon is by doing 2 things. One, when I'm starting to actually paint my foil, I do not go right to the root area right away. I actually start my foil where I'm painting a little bit like in the middle of the foil. And then when there's less product on my brush, I move towards the edge of the foil where the root is so that I'm not getting this big glob of bleach, which can be pressed down and it can make a bleed mark, which no one wants. All right, so I have my consistency the way that I want it to be. As you can see, it stays on my whisk. It's definitely thicker. The product does not go as far this way, but it's almost like more of a paste, and it works really well. Excuse all of the noises, but this is how it goes. And I'm just gonna get this whisk out of the way and save it by wrapping it in a foil. So my foils are pink. You can use whatever foils you would like, but I highly suggest pre-cut foils. And so these are the ones that I use at the salon. They are Malibu Barbie Pink. And oh, isn't it great when you start to do, isn't this nice? I have like black, I have no idea why, but I have black liner right under my eyes. Oh, and I also know why I'm looking so tired. I forgot to put on mascara. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep on going. All right, so, because this is really about coloring my hair, and let's face it, when you're coloring your hair, you really don't have time, nor should you care about looking your best. So I am taking a mohawk section of my hair, and obviously if I were doing this on a client at the salon, I would be much, much more precise. But when I'm just putting a few foils into my hair and doing a face frame, I just loosely section. And everything that I do on myself is so much harder than doing on a client because the perspective is so different. So I just do my best. I have completely mismatched clips because I also don't really use clips a lot at home. Everything that I do is in the salon. So as you can see, my hair just looks really, really dark. I did get it done fairly recently, but for some reason, the highlights this time they just didn't really seem to take very well. I don't think it was lifted quite far enough. So I'm sectioning everything out, and surprise, surprise, I don't have enough clips for what I would like. So I'm gonna just sort of MacGyver this and get everything out of my way. And the last section, which I'm not going to be touching at all because I would never in a million years try to highlight the back of my own hair, only a little face frame in the front. So I can just section that out and I don't need to use it. I use a very small brush. I just feel like it's so much easier for precision. It lets me be so much neater. And so what I'm going to do is I'm taking my foiling comb and I'm just going to make a little section straight across. I'm going to clip my hair back out of the way. And then I pull my hair down and I can see exactly where it needs the highlights. So I'm going to work at matching up some of the highlights I already have, but also I'm adding a little bit more because I do just feel so dark right now. I took a very, very small section, so some people try to speed through things really, really quickly by taking large sections. And the caveat with a large section is that you actually, so I'm starting a little lower on the foil instead of right at the top. The caveat with a large section is that, one, your coverage is not as good, and two, you can't get as close to the root. Now, I'm not really worried about getting right on top of my root because what I'm also going to do after this is I'm going to apply something to my roots to actually lighten them up a little bit. Now, when I color my own hair, I will just tell you, even though I have done over 10,000 heads of hair in my career, I just feel so awkward when I'm coloring my own hair, and it's really difficult because you are making almost like blinders as you color your hair. So one thing that I do is I use a very, very slow developer because I like to give myself time, as I know that everything that I do on my own hair is going to take me twice as long as if I were sectioning someone else's hair and coloring. Like, look at how messy this section is. So I'm not going to use that section because messy sections equal messy foils, and messy foils equals, I'll be honest, ugly hair color. So it's, as you can see, I'm really struggling with sectioning my own hair. Doing things in the mirror is, it kind of drives you crazy, but I can do this. All right, that section is so much better. And what I do, I'm not going to do a ton of foils. I mean, I'm not trying to make myself, you know, super blonde or anything. I feel really, really dark right now, which I don't like. I was talking to my husband on FaceTime and I felt like my roots looked, I mean, I can see them in this video and they look black. So I'm just adding a few more foils in here. Again, I'm starting, as you can see, I'm starting a little bit lower, and then as I have less product, I'm coming up a little bit higher. And I am using GOLDWELL Silk Lift with 10 volume developer. So I often work with a very slow developer, even in the salon, because I do apply so many foils and I just like to have plenty of time. I know that clients don't always feel like sitting for a really long time, but I like to have plenty of time to get as many foils as I need. And in the salon, what I would usually do is I would actually move up to a faster volume. I'm actually just pressing that down a little bit because it didn't have to be folded over so much, but it's hard to get perspective on what I'm doing. So anyway, it gives me plenty of time. I can actually move up the speed of developer as I go for my clients. So it gives me a little bit of flexibility and it allows me to take hoping that I did better with this one, but perhaps not. So we are going to go in and section this one more time. And with each foil that I put in the front, I am just spacing each one out a little bit more every single time. So this foil is not as close to the last foil as the foil was before, because with your hair, it would always be, it's amazing that I can even see, isn't it? Your hair would always be a little bit lighter in the very, very front, and then it would gradually get a little bit darker from the sun. So you're really trying to mimic when you're doing, I mean, at least when I'm doing a highlight for my clients, I want them to look as natural as they possibly can. So I'm actually mimicking what the sun would do. And so that means that I space out a little bit more as I go. So these will probably be my very closest foils. And then I'm going to start to really space out because I actually don't feel like I need many foils in the back. Just for whatever reason, this last time that I got highlighted, I did not feel like the front of my hair was light enough. And I'm turning a little bit to the side in the mirror simply because it's really hard for me to see because this foil is acting as a blinder. So you can see why. And then I'm going to turn to the other side so I can see what I'm doing on the other side and completely probably block your view. And I'm getting in close to the root, but I mean, you really don't want to paint right onto the root. That's going to cause a bleed mark. So only paint as far as you can. And then I'm going to seal up that foil. I'm moving. Isn't this just like the most elegant look for me? I'm moving everything to the side. I'm going to do an even more spaced out one right here. This might be a little too spaced out, but we'll see how it looks. No, I actually think it looks nice. So I am going to use, ooh, ouch. Maybe I won't use that metal clip that I just stabbed myself with. Okay, so another section. And I think you can just see when you look at my roots, they are just so, so dark. Just don't really know what happened with my last highlight. But anyway, putting a few more in. Little messy section, but I can live with this. If this were a client's hair, I would be so much pickier, but isn't it terrible that when I'm doing it for myself, I'm actually not that picky. I know it's going to look good, and by the time I lift my base, it's going to look really, really good. That is, I was worried that that one piece might be a little too big, but I think that's still going to look really natural. I'm also not going to be lifting my hair too far. So I tend to have, I'm the most sensitive person in the world to chemicals. So as much as I love what a glaze for shine does, and it also imparts really beautiful tone, I usually have a reaction to it and I get really, really itchy. So what I do is I leave my foils a little bit warmer and I don't lift them super far. And that way, I don't have to glaze them because they stay golden. So this might be all of the foils that I do. Maybe I'll do one more spaced out just so that it's not super tight in the front with absolutely nothing in the back, just so it's like a nice smooth transition. So I'm going to go one more back here, and then I'm going to put some in on the sides. So years ago when I went to hair school, I pictured that being a hair colorist was going to be so elegant, and I was going to be getting my hair done all the time. You know, I was always going to have like the best looking hair, and I would look perfect and polished and all of that all the time. And I feel like the reality that I have found with being a hair colorist is that most of the time I'm really busy with my own clients. And lately I've also been really busy because I'm doing YouTube. I also have an online store, and I manufacture my own black makeup towels that I sell on Amazon, and they're also coming to a big box, or probably several big box stores soon. So between all of those things, sometimes it's really hard for me to take a full day to drive out to my friend that colors my hair. So I wind up doing this little touch up with just a few foils, and it buys me probably another 4 to 6 weeks. And with Christmas season, once my busy season is over, then I can take the time to go get my own hair done. But right now, I just don't have that time. So this is what I do so that I can look nice and feel good, and like I have some lightness in my hair, but also just like keep the time for working, because that's what I really need to be doing right now. So one important thing, if you are foiling your own hair, is really just to look and to make sure, this was a really messy fold, just to make sure that you are not overlapping onto old blonde highlights. So if you are overlapping your color onto your highlights, you're going to damage your hair, and you're going to lose all of the dimension in your hair. And eventually, especially with bleach, which I'm not going to lie, I probably would not recommend that you bleach your own hair, because it's a pretty aggressive product. So it's something that you do basically have to use if you have dark hair, because nothing else will lift your hair as well as bleach. But the issue is that it is, it's harsh, and it has the ability to break your hair. Okay, so I got, oh, my phone is giving me a notification. I got a little bit of color where I didn't want it, but as you can see, I just basically wiped the color off. If you get a lot of color where you don't want it, you are going to get a bleed mark, but if you immediately wipe and dry that color off, you should be fine, and you should not wind up with a bleed mark. I'm not going very far back in my hair, probably only about this far, and so I'm not really sure if I'm going to do the second part of my process today. So what I am going to be doing is putting a product on my roots called New Blonde. And what New Blonde does is New Blonde just takes the edge off of dark hair. So if you're a blonde, but you have dark blonde hair that you're highlighting, it takes your hair up about probably half a shade to a shade, which makes the grow out better, and it makes the blonde look more natural. I think I'm probably not going to apply it today, simply because I would like to I always have too many things that I'm trying to do in one day, and I am hoping to go out in the snow while it is still light with my dogs. So I'm actually going to stop there. I think that's enough for right now over there. And I'm going to move to the other side, which is going to be a little challenging because, of course, I have moved all of the hair over here. So I'm trying to move it to the other side, but also not to disturb my foils. So we're just going to do a really basically an unattractive hairstyle here for me for now. And then we'll take this section and ever so slightly, I'm folding up the corners of those foils just so that they're not blocking me from getting into a little area that I would like to get into to be able to highlight right around my temples. So I'm taking super, super small sections in here. As you can see, I have really, really dark natural hair. And the other side is pretty easy for me because I am right-handed, but this side is, I mean, it just doesn't get any more awkward than trying to foil this way. So I'm going to do my best. Do not have too much product on your brush. You just need enough to cover, but you don't want tons and tons of product on your brush. Oh, the faces I'm making are just great, aren't they? It's not that, I guess maybe some people could look like amazing while they're coloring their own hair, but I'm just not that kind of person. I don't think my dogs have any idea of what the weather is doing outside. I don't really think that Yorkies tend to like bad weather, so I don't think we're gonna have a long walk, but I do want to give them the opportunity to stretch their legs a little bit. We're gonna have to put a lot of stuff down on their paws because they are throwing down salt, and salt burns your dog's paws. So I'm gonna have to put something called mushers on when we walk outside. All right, guys, so that is all that I do. At the salon, I would call this a sunburst foil. It's just about like 10 or 15 foils, and it's just gonna give me a little bit of lightness around my face so that I feel like I just got my hair done. I look super crazy right now with all these foils, but and this side is, as you can see, substantially more messy than this side. But after this is done, and when I will know that this is done on my hair is when it is a strong yellow color when I open up the foil. So I'm not looking for a white color because it would not match. As you can see, my highlights are really golden. So I'm just going to match up what I have. I might even go slightly darker because I think that your roots should always be slightly darker. And then I'm going to shampoo, condition, and go out and walk the babies. I'm going to do a follow-up once my hair is blow dried, probably tomorrow morning, just so you can see the results of how it looks. So I just wanted to take a minute to show you guys the results of my at-home bleach highlight that I did the other day. So I put in the highlights the other day, and yesterday I actually lightened up my roots with a product called New Blonde. So I mixed up the New Blonde and I applied it to my roots for 5 minutes only on the new growth, and then I shampooed it out, and it just barely took the edge off of my super dark hair, and it took it up about 1 shade. So just wanted to show you the results. The highlights are very, very soft. I only put in about 15 or 20, but it just is going to buy me a little bit of time through this holiday season to not have to go and get my own hair done. I am not necessarily telling you to try this at home, but if you do, stick to the very front of your hair. That is the easiest way to do it. I hope you guys stay healthy and beautiful. If you got value out of this video, please go ahead and like my channel, comment below with any questions or comments, and let me know if you're enjoying these beauty videos. I mean, I am a Best of Boston hair colorist. I have an award-winning salon. I've been in the beauty industry for 22 years. I'm 44 years old and I have a lot of tips and tricks, but I just want to make sure that you guys are enjoying these videos. If you are, please speak up and tell me and let me know what you would like to hear more about. Thank you so much and have a great holiday, guys.